This is the Lacrosse Classified Podcast on the Lax All-Stars Podcast Network, your go-to source for all things NLL and indoor lacrosse. Each week, we'll cover the hottest storylines and talk to the biggest names in the sport. Now, let's talk some lacrosse.
The proverbial bell has rung. It's time for Lax Class. Thanks for joining us here on the Lacrosse All-Stars Podcast Network for another episode 38 of Lacrosse Classified. Jake Elliott, Evan Schemenauer with you back once again. A fantastic program on deck for you this week as we will have one of the newest inductees, Hall of Famer, GM of the Six Nations Chiefs, one Duane Jacobs, will join us in about 20-25 minutes from now. And then former Roughneck great, jersey hanging there in the rafters of the Saddle Dome, now the head coach of the Nanaimo Timbermen, who are in the playoffs. The head coach will join us. Niner, it's Kaleb Toth coming up in about 45 minutes from now. Evan, welcome back. Another week, another episode here, and lots to talk about this week here on Lax Class.
Well, the WLA season didn't disappoint at the end at all.
That is an understatement, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, New West winning both their games set up a winner-take-all at the end, and we'll get into that a little later, but, you know, the way that this wrapped up, and even the game Saturday with Vic just needing a win for first against Coquitlam, where you think, this is a cakewalk. They beat them 13-2 a few weeks ago, and now they're struggling just to win that game, because otherwise they would have had a heck of a first-round playoff match in their hands.
Yeah, 9-8, the final in that one. Shamrocks rested a lot of bodies in that one, I must say, but Coquitlam gave them everything they could handle. And then some, but they come up a goal short. Shamrocks finish in first place, and they'll take on Nanaimo in the first round. I gotta say this off the top here, Evan. Rough Riders and Lions playing a back-to-back over the last couple of weeks in CFL action. My BC Lions are not doing so well, and the Riders there in Saskatchewan got the get well card, having to play BC on back-to-back weeks.
I'm not a Riders fan, though. That's the thing. I know a lot of people in Saskatchewan turn their heads like, how's that possible? But no, I'm a long-time Edmonton Eskimos fan.
Really?
Yep.
Unabashed Edmonton Eskimos fan in Saskatchewan. Are you listening to this, Rush Nation? My goodness, I can't believe you just admitted that right on the air here.
It is what it is. I mean,
Eskimos.
I think it comes back to my university days, and those that remember the Riders in the mid-'90s, they were a bit of a party team, not exactly the nicest guys on the planet, except for Dan Farthing. Phenomenal guy, Dan Farthing. But, you know, it really put the nail in the coffin as to driving me away from the Riders at that point in time.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well, anyways, so much for that. Riders went 2-0 against the Lions. Why don't we get into report cards here, Evan? We got some good ones. We got some bad ones, and we got some okay ones coming up here on Stampede Tack's weekly report cards. More than just the boot store there at Stampede Tack in Western Wear. They carry a wide range of hats. Keep you protected from the wind, the sun, the snow, the rain. It sounds almost like a mail carrier would want to go here. Camping, fishing, hiking, anything you do, delivering the mail. Anything you do outdoors, Stampede Tack and Western Wear's got a hat for you. Visit them at stampede.ca or shop online by visiting them at stampede.ca or stop in right there in Cloverdale. Remind me now, Evan, to give away a hat here at the end of the program. We haven't really decided on that. We forgot again last week.
Well, I've got an idea for that. We'll get into that later, but I do have an idea on that one.
Okay, good to know. Let's get into report cards here. We're going to do something a little bit different because we got something kind of unique this week where, well, let's just do this. We're going to start with the B letter grade, and we're going to kind of jump around here a little bit. So B, we got down here, Evan, the Steve Priolo, Mike Messenger heavyweight tilt at Queen's Park last Thursday. Now, watching online, the cameraman, my man Patrick, way full screen there, just, I don't know what happened. He went to sleep. He left the camera facing to center right when the scrap was going on. So I'm hearing Brandon Astle like freaking out during this fight, and I can't see it. And now I'm freaking out. Fortunately, my old combatant there, Neil Doddridge, took a heck of a video from a pretty close-up range as well and got a great shot of it. It's on my Twitter feed if you want to see it, but what a tilt this was. I think both guys near the end of their shift here. I'm not sure who was on the floor longer, but Messenger connected with some hellacious shots and then ended the thing with a hip toss as well. I got to give the decision to Mike Messenger over Steve Priello, but I got to give Priello some props here, too. Like, he took some heavy shots and stood right in there. The guy has a chin like no other.
It's unusual you'd have these two guys fighting because it's rare that they'd be on the floor at the same time.
Right.
It just happened to be that, from what I've been told, Messenger was on defense. He came up through transition and stuck around for the offensive possession, and that's what caused it. I wouldn't go up against Mike Messenger for anything. That guy scares the heck out of me, even watching him live. You know, like, remember, he put Tom Shriver into the box there earlier this year.
Yeah, I remember what he did to Chetner after there in Saskatchewan as well. Sent him about 6 feet in the air.
Oh, yeah. Like, the guy's a beast, and, you know, what can you say about him? And, yeah, he cut Priello up apparently pretty good, too, so... You know, good on them both for going at it, but you could not pay me enough to go head-to-head against Mike Messenger.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at him, and he's kind of got that glazed look in his eye, like he's ready to snap at a moment's notice. And I've seen Mike fight plenty of times back in junior and stuff, but taking on Steve Priello and getting back to this, because I know we were like really hard on what happened there in Owen Sound and Six Nations. I want to be clear on something here. When I was talking about that and still thinking that there was a place in the game for a scrap, like that was a perfect example of it. It was two guys willing to go at it, had respect for the code, had respect for each other. It was like they literally were side by side walking to the penalty box after the fight. And I'm not sure why it happened or what transpired, but the difference between what happened in Six Nations and the difference between what happened in Queen's Park, two completely different things. And that's what I'm talking about when I still say I think there's a place for that in the game, where what happened in Six Nations, that can go away anytime soon.
No, absolutely. Well, now, the difference here is, and this is the comparison I get when you compare lacrosse to hockey, is that in hockey you got blades on. It's easier for you to go down. In lacrosse, it's a bit of a street brawl because it's much more difficult to go down. But, yeah, two willing guys, they went at it, you know, got broken up. They both went to the box, did their 5 minutes.
Yeah.
No big deal.
The best was the 10, 11, 12-year-old girl there sitting in the front row chomping on her popcorn watching two grown men punch each other in the face and was very ill-phased by it all. Just, after it was over, she kind of looked back to her parents and was like, well, that was pretty cool. That made me chuckle. So anyways, Priello, Messenger, you get a B letter grade for that display of fisticuffs on Thursday night at Queen's Park Arena. C letter grade, Evan. Let's go to C. And now that we're about to turn the calendar page into August, we're starting to see it more and more here in the WLA and BC Junior Lacrosse. Floor wipes. There's an argument to be made that floor wipes are kind of like TV timeouts in the NLL, but I will never buy into that argument because these are unscheduled. You can have 5 of them in about a 7-minute span. You can have 1 in a 10-minute span. Do players need a break every now and then during the game? I don't know if they do. If they do, maybe get yourself in better shape. I don't know. But what I do know is that the more I watch lacrosse, the more I think that it should be played on turf all the time. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm a traditionalist. I love the wooden sticks, and I love the squeak of the sneakers. I love the old wood there in Queen's Park and in Burnaby. I think that's very unique. But the game of lacrosse is about speed. It's about flow, tempo, momentum. And all that goes out the window every time a guy hits the deck come July 15th because he leaves a sweat track that can cause a major injury. And you have to stop the game and wipe up the floor. And that just kills everything that lacrosse is supposed to be. But there's no way around it. So unless teams are willing to buck up and lay down a turf, which some of them are, some of them aren't. There's only one set of turf here, and that's in Langley. In the WLA. There's 2 wood surfaces. The rest are concrete. But floor wipes, I hate them.
Now, of course, the key there is if you put turf in every stadium, how cost prohibitive is it, right? Some of these WLA, MSL teams just don't have the money. But there were some complaints, well, I wouldn't say complaints, but hints on social media that in some of these Junior A games that all of a sudden a mysterious floor wipe happens with a minute to go in the game, right? So
yeah,
you got to take care of the safety of the players.
It's become like the new pulling a strap on your goal pads or faking a hamstring cramp to get an extra timeout. And this is what we're starting to see because of this. They know the officials are going to blow it down and wipe the floor. Oh, maybe I'll just, wring out my jersey here a little bit and get some moisture on the surface and then point to it and say, hey, we need a floor wipe here. Or maybe I'll just squirt my water bottle over the bench in front of the bench onto the floor and say, hey, because we're losing by 3 goals and we need to slow the game down and get a timeout. I get it. They have to do it. But it drives me crazy, and it goes against everything that the sport of lacrosse is supposed to be. So, go ahead.
It should be a delay of game penalty if you can spot that it's realistic, right?
Sure. But I honestly can't ever imagine a referee making that call, though. You know what I mean? So, it is what it is. It is what it is, and that's why it gets the C letter grade. Now, here is something as we move to letter grade D. Remember, we have not given out A. We have not given out F yet. We're gonna go to D. We've done B. We've done C. Now we're going to D. And here's something that can be done about this because I've seen it done with other teams. Now, Maple Ridge and New Westminster are about to play each other in a playoff series. I've ranted on this for I don't know how long, Evan. Probably close to a decade. Maybe a bit shorter than that.
Yeah, a good 3-4 years I can recall.
Right. Burnaby, credit to them, made the change this year. Langley, credit to them, made the change a couple of years ago. Coquitlam, I think, was maybe the first team to do it. I don't know how long Victoria or Nanaimo. I can't even picture their nets right now. But where I'm going with this, New West and Maple Ridge both have white nets. And not only do they have white nets, but they are tightly strung white nets. And mark my words here, Berards, mark my words here, Bellies, some point during this season or series, there is going to be a goal that is counted that shouldn't have, or a goal that didn't count that should have. And I'm talking at least one, probably more, because you have white nets with a white ball that travels 100 miles an hour going into a net that's strung almost as tight as a tennis racket. Tell me who is making this decision to manufacture and then not only do that, but then convince somebody to buy a white net that is being played with a white ball. What color are the nets in hockey, Evan?
They're white.
And what color is the puck in hockey, Evan?
Yeah, it's black.
Okay, so we're not changing the color of the lacrosse ball because that is gospel. But I've seen other teams around the league, around the country, they've done it. They've switched. There's black nets out there. I don't know if it's a city thing or an arena thing or a team thing. I'm telling you right now, figure this out. You got a couple of days to do it before your series starts. Get some black nets on those nets so we don't have any controversy. And somebody could lose a series over a judgment call because a ref couldn't see it.
I recall the Man Cup last time when it was out west. And there was a shot by Sean Evans. And in a tight game late, and he, from where I can see it on the camera, he pots that thing just under the bar, but the thing hits the bottom of the bar, hits that mesh that's tight, and it spins out of the net, right? And the referee at 100 miles an hour is not only that, but he's looking at 4 different things at the same time, because the 2-man system back then, he doesn't see it. And first off, loosen the netting up, because the whole point of the netting is to ensure that you know that the ball has entered the net. That's the whole point of it to start with. There's no other reason for it. But how much does a black mesh cost? $200 maybe, at best? Like, come on, guys. This should be simple, and
it should be mandatory is what it should be, Evan. Every team should be instructed to get black nets. I will never understand why you would use white nets with a white ball. It just mark my words, somebody is going to benefit and somebody is going to get hosed in this upcoming series, because not only one team, both these teams have white nets and tightly strung at that. So you've been warned, both of you. You got some time to figure it out. Series gets going on Wednesday.
And it's not like you have an overhead cam to prove that it went in.
Nope. And until you make the change, you guys both get a D letter grade for the Nets at Queen's Park and fabulous Cam Neely Arena. All right, Evan, we've done B, C, and D. We got A and F left. Now, the reason we did it like this is because it involves one game, and that one game is going to get both letter grades. Let's start with A.
Yep.
Let's start with A because we need to finish here with F. The 8-8 tie between Burnaby and Nanaimo for a playoff spot on the second to last regular season game of the series or the season. The game of the year, no question about it. With everything that was on the line, not one penalty called in this game. The Lakers tie it up with 4 seconds left to force overtime in what was a goaltending duel between Eric Penny and Charles Claxton. And what a game it was Friday night from the Swamp. So for that, they get the letter A grade.
Now, first off, I wish I could have seen it. I had issues with play full screen all night.
Yeah.
So I was being a box score cowboy, but I'm sitting there looking at overtime like, this is 3-on-3. Somebody's got to score, right? And I'm also looking at the scoreboard has all the shots. I'm like, why is Nanaimo shooting with 15 seconds left on the shot clock? They don't have to win this.
Yeah.
But it's a win or go home game, and that's the game you get. That is the best possible result you could have.
Well, I'll say this. I think it was almost the worst case scenario for the WLA to have a game of that magnitude be decided or not be decided on 3-on-3 overtime. I like the concept, Evan, of trying to get games decided in overtime instead of playing a full 10 minutes of 5-on-5, and quite likely once you get to overtime, you're going to finish that game in a tie. That's kind of the history. So they wanted to make a change, and I fully encourage the change. But when it comes down to deciding a team's playoff fate on a 3-on-3, it's a little gimmicky for one. It's sudden death, but then nobody scored. And on top of that, I don't think Burnaby realized what the scenario was, that they needed to score in order to punch their ticket, because they didn't start pulling.
I don't know if they did, because they were retweeting my tweet all day. It said that they needed a win. I don't know. Maybe it didn't mess it up.
Because the social media director knows it doesn't mean everybody else knows it. You know what I'm saying? So they kind of started with about 2.5 minutes to go, we need to start pulling our goaltender here because we need to win. But then on the other side of it, Nanaimo, I don't think they realized that a tie was good enough for them, because 40 seconds left in the game, Charles Claxton took a chance at an empty net on a full court shot. Gillis shooting with, I don't know what it was, 18 seconds left to go when he didn't need to. The shot clock was off. He could have ran it out. So we'll ask Kaleb Toth about it, whether everybody was in the know on the bench or not. But the way both teams played 3-on-3 overtime led me to believe that not everybody was on the same page. And not only that, but like walking out of the arena at the end of the game, the fans had no clue what was on the line there and what the ramifications were at the end of the game with it finishing in a tie. Like, I think everybody knew what was on the line. You win, you're in. You lose, you're out. But nobody knew what this deal was if they ended up in a tie, and that's exactly what happened. So you get the A.
Which is why more people need to follow me. They would have known
There you go. At Shemlax. So I'll get you a plug in early. Back to the point, they get the A, Evan, for just a heck of a night at the Swamp.
Well,
but
and before we go to the F, we didn't talk about Robert Church. And I mean, what a game this guy's had! What a season he's had!
Yeah.
Now, can you imagine the MVP of the league is going to be on a team that didn't make the playoffs?
Well, don't count that, because Mitch Jones ended up leading the league in scoring. And he made the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
So, Robert Church, most goals in the league, came up, I think, 4 or 5 points short of Mitch Jones. But Frank Scigliano has got a goals against average of like 5, Evan. Mitch Jones led the league with 90 points. Church right behind him with 85. So I think there's 3 guys in that conversation. I'm not ready to hand it to Robert Church, but I wouldn't argue if it did go to him. That's for sure. The F goes to 3-on-3 overtime, deciding a playoff spot, and to the 2 teams that I don't think they really knew what was on the line going into overtime as far as ending in a tie. I think that's a real tough way. You look back at the WLA history, Evan, like 19 points, 20 points, 10 wins, if you will, gets you into the WLA playoffs more often than not. Burnaby finished with, I want to say, 21 and didn't get in. That's
21's correct. Yeah,
that's tough. That's tough. Usually 21, you're a lock to get in, but that's just the year that it was in the Dub.
Well, I mean, the real F goes to tied games to begin with.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I
hate ties.
I mean, it's 2019 and we still got ties. Why don't you put 20 minutes up on that clock? It's a full period.
Well, because that's the rule. They decided on this in the regular season before it started. This was the rule, and you can't. Because it's a game-deciding game, you can't change the rule in the last game of the year. But with that being said,
you can't change the rule.
No.
But the thing is that
I don't like the rule. I don't like the rule. Here's what I suggest.
I don't like the tie. Get it. Somebody win this thing, right?
4-on-4, 10 minutes, sudden death. You're going to get a win.
The one tie the entire season is the most important game of the year.
Right. That's the worst case scenario they could have ever expected to happen.
Now, I still like this a lot more than play the full 10 minutes out and see how many goals you can score. That one I really can't stand.
So let's go 4-on-4, because I think 4-on-4 is extremely entertaining lacrosse. 4-on-4, put 10 minutes up on the clock, but it's sudden death. You're going to get a goal in 10 minutes with 4-on-4 lacrosse.
Or even put 20 up there. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. I just avoid the tie. I don't know how you do it.
I mean, you do have to speed it up a bit, because there are issues with getting back on the ferry.
Sure, that's exactly it.
Night.
That's exactly it. And you want to worry about your fans a little bit. School nights, whatever. They got to get home, got to get the kids to bed as well. So, I applaud the effort for trying to come up with something new, because I'm okay with change, but I don't think 3-on-3, 5 minutes sudden death works for me. And I know it doesn't work for Burnaby, and I don't know how other people feel about it. Those are my thoughts on it. The game itself gets the A. Games ending in ties gets the F. That was a good report card session, if I do say so myself right there, Evan. Let's get to break. On the other side, the newest Hall of Fame member and the GM of the Six Nations Chiefs. Heat up, you Chiefs. It's Dewey Jacobs on the other side, right here on Lacrosse Classified on the Lax All-Stars Podcast Network.
Associated Labels and Packaging is in the business of creating first impressions. They'll help you reflect your company values accurately by offering solutions that fit your product needs. With the latest in printing technology and over 35 years of experience, Associated Labels and Packaging is the perfect fit for your company to take your labels and packaging to the next level.
Hey, this is Kylie O'Miller of The Fight of the WPLL. You're listening to Lacrosse Classified on Lax All-Stars, throwing the game one podcast at a time.
All right, lacrosse fans, welcome back to Lax Class. Lacrosse Classified here on the Lax All-Stars Podcast Network. You heard it there. Thanks to our friends at Associated Labels and Packaging. Associated-labels.com. You need a label, you need a package. Find my friend Sean Ashworth and the gang here in Coquitlam. Associated LP, as in labels and packaging. You want to find them online. They do up a daily blog letting you know everything that they got going on down there at their brand new warehouse. I suggest you give it a read. Super interesting stuff. And then if you need a label or package, well, your decision is easy. Associated Labels and Packaging. Jake Elliott, Evan Schemenauer with you, and now joined by one of the newest members of the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame. He does have an NLL championship to his title and 6 Mann Cup championships, 3 as a player, 3 as a GM. He is the general manager of the Six Nations Chiefs. It's Duane. Dewey Jacobs. Dewey, thanks for doing this, man.
Hey, thanks a lot. Glad you could have me.
Glad we could have you as well. Let's start with the Chiefs. We'll get into the Hall of Fame. We'll get into some World Championship lacrosse as well, Dewey. But let's talk about your Chiefs here first. A couple of losses there to Peterborough over the week. But how you feeling about your Chiefs heading in towards the playoffs here? You got a real nice lineup. Do you guys feel like if you play your best, you can beat anybody?
Yeah, I think so. We think we have the parts. We've solidified our goaltending this year with having Dylan Ward back. Our defense is young and fast, and we have a lot of skill up front. So, I don't think we've played our best yet, and probably no team out there has, but we feel good about where we are and heading into the playoffs.
But I guess you got 2 games back-to-back like that, and you're probably going to face that team in the finals. What is the main takeaway? Like, what is it you learned from those 2 games that you can use in future weeks here?
I don't really know. I mean, obviously we know Peterborough's a very good team, and they have a lot of depth, and they're good in all 3 areas. Like they're good in goaltending, their defense is good, their offense is good. And you know what? We struggle a little bit to be mentally focused with them right now, and I think that's the main thing. They've really had our number probably the last two seasons. So right now I think it's a mental thing for us, but that's something we're definitely aware of and looking forward to the playoffs.
Speaking with Duane Jacobs, and I want to take you back to the beginning of the year, Dewey, and you had a chance to go out and get the likes of a Lyle Thompson, and a lot of eyeballs popped out of their heads when they saw that deal go down. But for me, like, Lyle's my favorite player to watch play the game. He's so dynamic, and was it like almost a no-brainer to make the deal when you found out that he was available?
Yeah, it was. I mean, we've expressed interest with him for the past couple of years, and when Brooklyn was ready to move him, they obviously wanted a lot, and we certainly paid a lot, but we really feel that he's the best player in the game right now, and when you have one of those players join your lineup with an already real good supporting cast, we really felt that he could be a difference maker for us, in the playoffs.
You got couple matchups, potential matchups in the playoffs. We know who the teams are in. Is there a preference, Oakville, Brampton, that you'd like to see in the opening rounds?
Not really. I mean, I think with Brampton, they've actually given us trouble. Even last year they gave us trouble, and obviously Oakville beat us last year. They're very similar, I think, and I don't want to say who we prefer to play. We know we're going to play a real good team, and it's going to be a battle for sure.
One more Chiefs question here before we move on, Dewey. I saw Jammer post up a pic on Instagram of him in those white Chiefs jerseys. I want to know who made those, who designed those things. Those are some of the nicest lacrosse jerseys I've ever seen. About as fresh as you can get for those whites.
Yeah, I guess you got to give credit over to the ILA sports crew over there. I think they came up with that design a few years back, and I actually seen that post and forgot about those. And I was thinking to myself, man, those look pretty sharp. Well, we should maybe think about bringing those ones back.
Yeah, no, they're spectacular. As we speak with Hall of Famer Duane Jacobs, that's got to sound pretty good, Dewey. Tell me how you got the call. How did you find out, and what was your reaction once you heard the news?
Well, I got the call probably a couple weeks before it was announced. Dave General had called me, and I believe he's on the board with the Hall of Fame, and he let me know. And I was away. I was in Michigan at a hockey camp with my son, and it caught me off guard. I wasn't really thinking about it, and obviously it was a pleasant surprise, and was really, really happy about it. Just thinking back on my career, and thinking, wow, it was really something special to hear that.
Speaking of your son, from what I understand, you're taking a step back from the NLL this year, kind of focusing on him. Is that still the plan, or is there anything in the works now for the NLL upcoming season?
Oh no, there's nothing in the plan as far as NLL goes. I don't know. Halifax, it brings more travel, and I don't know really if they ask me what type of role. I guess it would all depend. I'm certainly open to something if I can help them. But I think travel wise, I don't think that's something I could do. Every weekend if it was something that where they needed me there. But we'll see. I haven't really talked to Kurt in a while, but I would like to watch my son and get to as many games as I can. Yep.
Sorry, Duane. I was just going to say one place that you will be traveling will be to Langley in September, and then probably coming back in November for the Hall of Fame induction. At least I hope you are. But I know you're going to be on the bench for the Iroquois Nationals at the World Indoor Lacrosse Championships. Evan and I have been kind of throwing this around over the last few weeks. Like, this really could be the Iroquois' best chance to beat Canada. You guys have a star-studded lineup top to bottom this time around.
Yeah, I think so. Just looking at the list that we have, and there certainly is a lot of talent, and I think everybody's optimistic about our chances, this time around, and not that we weren't in previous years, but there's a core group of guys there that are in their prime, and the thing now is to whittle that down to 23 men, and figure out what we need to address in that 23 man to.
Do you have an idea when you're going to do that, Duane?
I think it's going to happen this week. I think we're going to be discussing it on a conference call tomorrow night, I believe. And so it may well happen this week.
You've had not only a lot of success on the floor, you've had a lot of success in your career as a lawyer. I work on our First Nation. I know a lot of people here listen to the podcast on a weekly basis. What's the best message you can give to the youth, the Indigenous youth here?
I just think, if you have a goal and you want to try and reach that goal, you gotta put the work in, and there's always going to be peaks and valleys, but if you make your mind up and you put the work in, you're going to give yourself a chance to realize your goals and your dreams, and I think that's, you ask any player, that's what they've done.
I think that's really well said, Dewey, and words to live by, no doubt about it, man. Hey, congratulations on your Hall of Fame induction. Look forward to seeing you in September, and then hopefully again at the Hall of Fame. Who knows? Maybe we'll see your Chiefs out here for the Mann Cup as well. Thanks for the time, Dewey. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it a lot, Jumbo. Okay, take care, you guys.
All right, that was Duane Jacobs. He's won it all, Evan. An NLL championship, you heard it. 6 Mann Cups, 3 as a player, 3 as a GM. He's going to be on the bench there with Richie Kilgore and the Iroquois Nationals for the World Indoor Championships, and just a wealth of knowledge, and one of the best lefty shooters to ever get it done in Duane Jacobs.
Yeah, and like you said before, this Iroquois team, this is their best chance to win it this year. I think Canada's going to have a run for their money, and we're going to have a treat to see how this plays out.
I cannot wait, man. Cannot wait. Speaking of waiting, we got to get to break because we got our next guest waiting. It's what you call a segue right there, Evan. It's Niner Kaleb Toth on the other side right here on Lacrosse Classified on the Lax All-Stars Podcast Network.
Pure Vita Labs is proud to bring you the highest quality sports supplements on the market. PVL products are 100% all-natural with no artificial flavors, colors, or sweeteners. And the entire line is also Informed Choice certified. We designed all our products with the athlete in mind. We look forward to being a part of your athletic achievements, helping you push the bar higher, win at the highest levels, and set personal records for years to come.
Hey, this is Dan Teat, head coach of the Brampton Excelsiors. You're listening to Lacrosse Classified on the Lax All-Stars Podcast Network.
Welcome back to Lacrosse Classified. You just heard it right there from Hall of Famer Dan Teat. Growing the game one podcast at a time is what we do here at Lax Class. And now joined by the head coach of the Nanaimo Timbermen, Kaleb Toth. Niner, thanks for doing this, buddy. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, anytime, bud.
I texted you yesterday. I says, has your heart slowed down yet after Friday night's game? Mine was off the charts up in the old gondola there in the swamp. My goodness, what a lacrosse game that was on Friday night. You come out on the right side of things. It was touch and go there. Like, what was going through your mind when Burnaby tied it up with 4 seconds left?
Well, I was pretty upset that we didn't lock off the creases, so I was, I was more swearing than anything else. But, I thought the game was, like you said, it was unreal. Back and forth, good goaltending, by both teams. Tying it up with 4 seconds left, they did. Both teams had good looks in overtime. Thankfully we ended up holding the tie and not losing. So we got to go on to the playoffs.
Yeah, let me ask you about this, because watching, I don't know if you've gone back and watched it or not, Kaleb, but watching the game, it almost seemed to me like neither team really knew what was on the line should the game have finished in a tie. Were you and your bench fully aware that a tie was good enough? Because I saw Claxton go for an empty net with about 40 seconds left when he didn't really need to. I saw Gillis shoot the ball with about 20 seconds left when he didn't really need to. I saw Burnaby finally kind of realize, hey, we need to start pulling our goaltender because we need to score here. Were you aware? Was everybody aware what was on the line with a tie?
Well, I was aware of it. I told the guys when we had our timeout in between the third and the fourth. I said, "Hey guys, like a tie wins, we move on with a tie." Whether or not everybody heard me or they're in their own little world, who knows? But, it's I knew about it, and so that's why I think it was Gilly had it the last couple seconds left. I was yelling at him just to kill it.
Yeah. Well, it was the Claxton one where I was like, what is he doing right now? So maybe if anybody's going to be kind of tuned out during a timeout, it's probably the goaltender who's standing off and talking to the other goaltender, having a drink of water or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, for sure. I was a little peeved when he threw the ball, but it worked out in our favor.
He did score twice in one game one time, I remember.
Yes, he did. Yeah, and that, the first one that he got at Maple Ridge last year, I was like, oh, okay, I'll give it to you. But then when he did it again, I was,
I'll tell you what. I
just told him, I said, you're lucky you didn't get jumped.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I think I played about 9-10. I don't think I ever had you had plenty of 2-goal games. I don't think I ever had one. So a goaltender has had more 2-goal games than I had in my career.
Come on, I'm sure you've had a game or two where you got 2 goals.
Two majors, but never 2 goals.
Yeah. It took you a long time, a lot of years in Nanaimo to build the team up to where it is. And several years ago, you stopped trading guys away just because they didn't want to play in Nanaimo. Has that been the major factor to getting to where you are today?
Yeah, I think it is. It's tough to build through the draft when your draft picks don't come play for you. So, we kind of put our foot down and said, you know what, screw it. If you don't want to play here, you don't get to play lacrosse, or you can go play b-ball. We just had that mentality that in order for us to improve, we had to draw the line in the sand somewhere, and that was where it was. And, once we kind of, would win a couple games and we'd get a couple players to come over, like when we got Gilly to come over and Belgrave and all that, then you see the other guys that we draft, want to come because they see what we're building. And it's great to be able to draft and then bring guys over to play. And it definitely, definitely helps us in Nanaimo here.
Speaking with Kaleb Toth, and it's funny, Kaleb, like Brody Eastwood was kind of the poster boy of, I don't know if I want to play in Nanaimo. And, I want to play in Victoria where I'm from. And you were like, just come, give it a shot, Brody, and if you don't like it, then we can talk, but we're not going to move you unless you actually come. And now the guy is your captain. So, I think he was kind of the pioneer, if you will, to send the message to the rest of the guys, like, hey, this is a spot where you can come and be an impact player and make a difference. And Nanaimo is a great place to hang out for a summer, too.
Oh, it is. There's lots to do. It's not a horrible hub city that it's made out to be. It's very nice. They got lots of beaches. You can travel all around. You're an hour from Coombs or Mount Washington. You can make a trip to Tofino if you want on a weekend. So, there's definitely lots to do in Nanaimo, and the big thing is the guys. The guys that we have are awesome. They're super nice. They like each other. They get along great. They get involved in the community. They're not guys that just go out and party every single night. They're responsible young adults, and it's you can't say too much about being responsible when you're young. I know I did a lot of stupid things when I was in my 20s. So these guys have been behaving themselves, and they know that they're representing Nanaimo and the Timbermen. So they they do keep well behaved.
Felt a lot of superstars. We talked about Chase Fraser, and we talked about the contribution of Charlie Claxton. Who are those 1 and 2 guys that we don't hear much about, but contribute a lot to the team?
Well, I think John Phillips. He's on the score sheet all the time. I think he led our team in points. He's had another great year. Messenger, he kind of does everything for us. Plays some D, plays some O. Colton Clark, another big guy that we rely on a bit. Nick Finley got from back in Ontario. He's been having a great year. I think he had 10 goals this year, maybe in transition. He's just lighting it up for us and playing really good defensively as well.
Probably could have had 30 if he buried all his chances. Man, is he effective in transition! And I've mentioned it a couple times. And Evan and I are obviously a little more familiar with him being a member of the Rush. But he's just a guy that kind of needed an opportunity to show what he can do. And I think he's really opened up a lot of people's eyes here. As we speak with Kaleb Toth, the head coach of the Nanaimo Timbermen, you're going to face the Shamrocks in the playoffs, Kaleb. I want to talk about that, and I probably know the answer to this already, but I'm going to ask you anyway, and you probably know what I'm going to ask you, is can you give us an update on your stud righty, Chase Fraser? Is any chance he's going to be back this year or no?
No. There's the only way that he'll be back is if we possibly make the Mann Cup, and he might be able to play in that. But no, he's definitely done for 6 to 8 weeks with a torn knee, MCL, and I believe it was PCL. He doesn't require surgery, but yeah, he's pretty much done for us.
That's unfortunate. It was really just kind of a weird nothing play, and I guess that's how quickly it can be taken away from you. You're going to go up against the Shamrocks here in an island rivalry, and I think maybe, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Kaleb, but I think it's a series that you guys kind of wanted, and I think it's a series that they kind of wanted, and I know it's a series that the island wanted. This is going to be fantastic. You guys traveling up and down the Malahat here, battling for the next 4+ games, however far it goes.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's nice that we don't have to travel over to Vancouver and catch that late ferry back every night and get to bed at 2:00 in the morning. It's nice that for at least the first round we'll be able to just drive down to Malahat, and it makes it really entertaining for island lacrosse, like for Victoria, for Nanaimo. You get the fans from Victoria coming to Nanaimo, you get the fans from Nanaimo going to Victoria, so it's really engaged on the island, and it's a great battle. The island rivalry is strong. It's our guys are most of them are buddies, but when they play against each other, they just want to win. So it's really intense, and hopefully we can sneak it out this year.
When I look back on your career, of course, the thing that still shines to me is that last second goal back in 2000 for the Champions Cup. You got 3 NLL titles. You've got 2 Mann Cups, a Minto, a Worlds. Is there any one of those that stands out to you?
You know what? They all do. They all meant something at the time, something a little different. Like the Minto Cup was the first championship I ever won. Then the next year, I got the Mann Cup, won the NLL championship. That obviously is.
You probably thought, hey, this is easy. Just sign up for a year and win.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. In 3 years, I won 3 championships, and it was amazing. And then, of course, you don't really win for a while, and you want to get back there so bad, and you want that feeling of being a champion again. And I got to do it 3 times in the NLL, and that was one thing that that I absolutely love about my career is being able to win championships.
Well, it was funny. I was researching for the podcast here, and I asked, but we got a little chat group. I says, Kaleb Toth in the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame or the NLL Hall of Fame or both? And the reply was he's in neither. And I was like, what? I was like, what? So I'm really hoping that call comes sooner than later, Kaleb, because I think you belong in both of those things, and I'm sure you're going to get there before too long. Before we let you go, I got to ask you about this, because watching the junior series in Nanaimo there with Coquitlam, and every time a Nanaimo player got hurt, we saw our buddy Dave Bremner kind of come out on the floor as the head coach / trainer. You, as the senior A coach, and I haven't seen anybody else do this, so I got to ask this. Where did the idea of you going out on the floor and we just talked about floor wipes off the top of the show, you going out with the mop on the floor, wiping up wet spots during the game?
Well, someone's got to do it. I'm not gonna yell at my assistant coach to go out and do it, and if the trainer is
get Nicola out there, screw it.
Well, Brian would go, but you know what? I'm capable. I got 2 legs. I can go out there. When I do it, I can slow the game down if I want to slow the game down. Right? Okay. I can take my time, refocus. Okay. Yeah. So it's
so this strategy. Is something you did on your own volition. Nobody suggested it. You just kind of started, and now it's like a thing, right? Like you have to do it now.
No, I don't have to do it. But, when I want something, like if I want to slow the game down, I'll go out and do it, or I'll tell my my equipment guy when he goes out and do it just to take his time. And, yeah, it's all about managing games.
Cunning, very cunning. That's interesting. Now, and that's funny because we were like saying like it's almost gotten to the point now where guys are like maybe just wringing out their jersey a little bit, or maybe they squirt a water bottle over the boards and say, hey, like we need a floor wipe here because they're, the momentum's going the wrong way on them. I hope the game doesn't come to that, but I like the idea if, you take the slow walk out with the mop, maybe have a word with a defender and a quick chat with your goaltender while you're mopping up there, and then stroll back to the bench. And it's almost like
a stare down.
Yeah.
Or stare down at the referee.
Yeah. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. I like it. Kaleb, best of luck in the playoffs.
Thank you very much.
And I'm sure we'll cross paths sooner or later and have you back on the show as well.
Yeah, you bet. Anytime.
All right. Kaleb Toth of the Nanaimo Timbermen. He's got his jersey retired there at the Saddle Dome. I don't know why this guy's not in the Hall of Fame, Evan. You just heard him rattle off all the championships he's won. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. And perhaps the NLL, the Hall of Fame hasn't inducted anybody in a while. So maybe that's part of it. But
he's on my list.
Like I said, he's got the last goal in Maple Leaf Gardens history. That goal will live forever.
Yeah.
And I think, that on its own should be a consideration, but the number of championships is just tremendous.
Yeah. Probably the most famous goal in National Lacrosse League history. I think it is. And I don't know if you ever had a good look at the stick that Kaleb used to play with. And if you've ever seen Mark Matthews' stick, the butt end that he uses a half a roll of tape on his butt end, has a huge knob on. Kaleb used a full roll of tape. It was I don't know how he played with the thing. Anyways, he did very well during his playing career, and he's turned himself into a great head coach as well. And he's got his Timbermen in the playoffs. They'll take on the Shamrocks. We're going to talk about the playoffs on the other side. You know what happens, Evan. It's time for Who You Got when we return to Lacrosse Classified on the Lax All-Stars Podcast Network.
Hey, this is Rylan Reese of the Burnaby Lakers. You're listening to Lacrosse Classified on Lax All-Stars, growing the game one podcast at a time.
Welcome back to Lax Class Lacrosse fans. Jake Elliott, Evan Schemenauer with the fourth quarter time, and also time for another award-winning edition of Stampede Tack's Who You Got. Evan, Who You Got? It's presented by Stampede Tack and Western Wear, your complete source for boots and motorcycle leathers and gear. The summer riding season is here. That includes horses and motorcycles, Evan. If you need the right stuff when you're out there cruising around on your bike or your horse, they ship Canada-wide, located in Cloverdale since 1960. That's before I was born, Evan. Online, stampede.ca. Shopping online, still shopping local.
Well, I don't know about award-winning, considering how badly we did last week.
Well, we could win the...
We were combined 1-7-2. I pulled a Challenger.
Yeah, the Chancellor, he's never going to live that down. And you just went 0-5 this week, which I really quite enjoyed. I only went 1-4, but you went 0-5. Carly did the best out of the three of us. She went 2-3. So with that being said, here's our new deal here, Evan. We want to encourage all our listeners to play along with Stampede Tack and Western Wears. Who you got? So listen to the podcast, figure out which games we're listing. Maybe we'll even post the games if we can figure out how to do that. Then make your picks.
That's easy.
Make your picks. Whoever does the best gets the hat. Now, if there's a tie, we'll have to say whoever gets their picks in first and does the best will get the hat.
Right.
But that, I think instead of...
Make sure you use the hashtag who you got so we know to trace it.
And 2 T's in who you got as well. Who ya got 2 T's. So, yeah, I think instead of asking people to send us letter grades, we still encourage that because, we want that. But I think for a great way to give away the hat each week, participate in Who You Got. You do the best. You get your picks in first, so you listen to the podcast right when it comes out. Get your picks in. You do well, you're going to get yourself a cowboy hat. But this week, Carly's getting the hat because she beat both of us. Overall records, however, Evan, Carly 11-14. You are 12-13. Now, there was a tie. You kind of put up a bit of a stink. I said, you know what? Unless you pick the tie, you didn't win. We all lost that game. There's no more ties anyway because we're into playoff action, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. 11-14. You were 12-13. I am 14-11 and in first place.
MSL still has regular season though.
I'm going to risk it. I'm going to risk it. There's one more regular season game here in the MSL, so don't get all technically on me here, Evan. So you're losing.
I'm behind.
You get to host. You're hosting. Let's go.
The first one's a really interesting matchup. Wednesday night, it's Game 3 of the RMLL Junior A Finals. The Mounties will be in Okotoks for this one. Both Game 1 and 2 went to overtime. The Mounties won both in overtime. Mm-hmm. Who you got?
Both games going to overtime. Now, they're doing the 2-2-1-1-1 format here in the RMLL final. So both games that the Mounties won were both at home, and now it's the Raiders' turn for 2 straight home games as well. Raiders push the Mounties to overtime on the road 2 games in a row. They're not going down 3 in this series on their home floor. Give me the Raiders.
I'm going to an old trick. Considering I went 0-4, here we go, flipping the coin.
The coin is coming out.
It is heads. It is the home team. I got to take the Raiders.
Are you doing this for all your picks now? Are you doing this for every pick?
Not all of them. Not all of them. But
I think you either got to trust the coin or you trust your gut, Evan. I don't think you can have it both ways.
Okay, so the OLA, it's tonight. It's Game 1 of the finals.
Actually, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow, Wednesday.
We're taping on a Monday.
Okay, so tomorrow is Tuesday.
Right.
So the game is actually Wednesday. Wednesday is the game.
Okay, so they changed that up then.
They did.
Burlington, Orangeville. Who you got?
Yes, Orangeville getting past Brampton in 5 games. Burlington getting past St. Catharines in 6 games. I think Orangeville's a little rested. The Bunny Barn is going to be ruckus. And I think, they finished in first place. There's a reason they got home floor in this series. I don't think it's going to be a sweep by any means, but I'm taking the Dark Empire in game number 1. Give me Orangeville.
Some ground to make up, and once again, it's a tough one, so I'm just going to go with the Chiefs and see if my gamble pays off. All right, this is the big one. BC Junior A, it is Tuesday night. It is Game 7. New West heading to Victoria. The winner goes to the Minto. Who you got?
Oh, baby. So, again, hopefully you've tuned in early here to Lax Class. This game is taking place tonight. So you got to get your picks in early. You still got a chance to make 4 picks even if you miss this window. Don't give up. You can still go 4-1. Picks got to be in before face-off, however. Tough because it's tonight. And listen, I'm not going to pass up a Game 7 opportunity to make a pick. I'm just not going to do it. So New West at Victoria. New West just won Game 6 5-3. Evan, 5-3 in Game 6. I was there. New West had about 14 minutes straight in the second period on the power play, including 2 long extended 5-on-3s. They could not score. But they do get 2 in the third, and they get past Victoria to tie that series up at 3. I had a chance to see my friend Warren Goss after that game, had a chance to give him a big hug. And it was great to see Warren there, and it was, I think it's huge for the Bellies to force a Game 7 here. And I think they got a little something extra to play for their GM, whose daughter is still in a coma. And a lot of things can happen when a team has a rallying cry. And I think New West is going to use that as motivation on the road in Victoria to punch their ticket to the Minto Cup. Give me the Bellies. Bellies.
Both teams are 2-1 at home in this series. It's a tough one, but I'm going to take the home team just because they're at home.
Yeah.
For no other reason that they're at home. But I was almost ready to flip the coin on this one, but I'll leave it for a later pick.
That was my first look at Victoria this year. They got a lot of talent up front. Dunkerley is a good goaltender out the back end there, and their offensive kind of little sneak attack at McComber, but he did not finish the game on Game 6. I'm just going to put that out there for you, Evan, before you lock that pick in. McComber did not finish the game for the Shamrocks. I don't know what his status is. Are you still taking the Shamrocks?
I'm still taking the Shamrocks.
Okay.
All right, here we go. MSL Thursday night. Oakville coming off a lopsided win against the Juicers. Headed to Peterborough, though. Who you got?
Well, this game obviously means a little bit more for Oakville than it does Peterborough, because Peterborough, I think, is locked up first place. Oakville still jockeying there with Brampton. This was the MSL final from a year ago. On the road, though, maybe Peterborough is going to rest some guys here with first place locked up. Maybe they don't dress their A lineup, and give me Oakville. I'm going to go out. I'm taking the dog here. I'm taking the Rock to beat the Lakers.
Giving me plenty of opportunity to get back in it this week. I'm taking the Lakers. It's a bit of a drive out there. You never know who's going to show up. And both teams are in the playoffs. Does it matter much? Maybe not. But I'm never going to pick against Peterborough at home. I think maybe I did once, but not going to pick against them anymore. Okay. Peterborough takes this one.
All right.
WLA, here we go. Wednesday night, game 1.
Oh, yes.
Maple Ridge, New Westminster. Both of them having very strong finishes to the season. Who you got?
From fabulous Cam Neely Arena, game 1. I will have the call for this one, Evan. All the home games for the Birds I will be on the headset for. Game 1 in Maple Ridge. Give me the Birds. I'm taking the home team. Remember, this series now, I think it was a flip from a year ago. I think New West finished in first. Burrard's finished in fourth. But it was Maple Ridge with the sweep against the Bellies a year ago. I don't think this series is going to be a sweep this year. But I just think Frank Chiliano is playing too well this season. He has been lights out. Give me the Bird. I'm taking the Bird, 7.
A little tougher in this one. I mean, New West came on at the end of the season, but they got Logan Schuss back. They got Kevin Crowley back. Makes it a little more difficult of a pick. I looked at this, and I looked at it 10 ways sideways, like who's going, and you know what? Coin's coming out.
Okay.
It says tails. It's the visiting team. It is the Bellies.
Okay, the coin picked the Bellies. Oh, by the way, I'm supposed to give you my regards from one general manager of the Colorado Mammoth and head coach of the Coquitlam Junior Adnax, Patrick Coyle. Sends his regards, Evan, for picking Nanaimo last week. Pat says thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the jinx right now, right?
Yeah,
so,
pretty much.
Teams are afraid of picking them.
That was the one pick I got right last week. One pick I got right. That was one pick better than you. Quick recap. RMLL, we're both taking the Raiders. OLA, I'm taking Orangeville. You're taking Burlington. BCJ, I'm taking the Bellies. You're taking the Shamrocks. MSL, I'm taking the Rock. You're taking the Lakers. WLA, I'm taking the... We got a lot of different picks. 4 out of the 5 different here, Evan. The gap could get really big here. Gonna get really big.
It could get big either way, but that's how tough the games were this week to pick.
Yeah, no, that's what we do here. So, once you listen to this, make your picks. Send them to us at Shemlax, at PXP for Sports, at Lax Class. Make your picks. You do well. You get them in first and do the best. You're going to get yourself a cowboy hat from Stampede Tack and Western Wear. Pretty simple. Let's wrap things up here with news and notes, Evan. Let's kind of whip through this here. We're across the hour mark. Team USA is announced for the World Indoor Lacrosse Championships. Any big surprises there?
I don't know if there's any big surprises, but the difficulty remains in goal for them. I mean, Goa Abrams is about the pick that they got, right, for goaltenders.
Yeah.
It's going to be a struggle for them.
That's real. I mean, you look up and down that roster, pretty solid, and then, no disrespect to those guys in goal because they're 1,000 times better than I would ever be, but I just, with the kind of shooters that the Iroquois in Canada are going to be firing balls at them, I just don't know how they hang in there. I don't know. We'll see. Playoff dates, we kind of did that. We know Peterborough, Six Nations, Brampton, Oakville are in for the MSL. It's Victoria and Nanaimo. It's Bellies Burrards in the WLA. Coquitlam is in the BC final, which means they are in the Minto Cup, waiting the winner of Game 7 between the Junior Shamrocks and Junior Bellies to see who will see them in the BC final, which is a best of 5, but both BC teams will be in the Minto. It's Burlington and Orangeville in a best of 7 to get to the Minto in Ontario, and it's a best of 7 between the Mounties and the Raiders. Mounties up 2-0. For the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League to see who comes to the Minto Cup as well. Affiliation Rule. This is kind of a unique thing here where it's almost like a bidding war on which team gets to affiliate with which junior team. Now, the deadline is July the 28th, which is Tuesday, which is a day before Game 7 of Bellies and Shamrock. So there is a calculated risk here for one or two teams that want to affiliate. I think New West will just affiliate with the Junior Bellies regardless. They'll just do it. Shamrocks, however, I think they got some interest in Langley. I think the Burrards do as well. Nobody's affiliated with Coquitlam as of yet. So teams are going to be talking to teams here, and you got to play a risk because one of these teams is going to be out of the playoffs. One is going to continue. So you kind of have to look at it like, okay, if these teams are going to the Minto Cup, I'm not going to get a chance at them until at least this date, which probably means just for the Man Cup. Or do you affiliate with a team like Langley that's already out of the playoffs, has some nice pieces there that can maybe help you during your playoff run? And then that junior team gets to decide, well, do I want to affiliate with you or do I want to affiliate with you? What are you going to offer? What are you going to offer? It's kind of a crazy thing that I've never really kind of digested completely, but now I'm looking at it this year going, who's going to do what here? And they have till Tuesday at midnight to figure it out.
I don't know if I'm such a big fan of this. I mean, part of this affiliation with the draft, where you can protect guys, the whole point of this is bring your guys from your city up to the junior level.
Yeah, but Maple Ridge doesn't have a junior team.
No, I understand that. So they can affiliate with somebody, right? There's a few other teams out there that they can. And if it gets down to the point of, okay, this team's still in the Minto, you can pick somebody else, I'm okay with that, right? But it should be Nanaimo sticks with Nanaimo, Victoria sticks with Victoria, the Bellies stick with the Bellies.
Yeah.
And
I get it.
That's
not the way it is, though. That's what I'm saying. It's like a bidding war of who is going to offer more to these junior teams to affiliate with them. So, kind of interesting. I talked about Warren Goss and seeing him. That was great. Emily still in hospital and no real further update as of this week. I haven't seen anything come across my email or anything as far as an Emily update. So I'm so glad I got a chance to see Warren and give him a hug and let him know that the entire lacrosse world is pulling for him. Interesting tweet coming from Scott Loeffler of the Buffalo Bandits, and just kind of a open-ended little vagueness to it, Evan. Here's the quote. I guess NLL free agency has already begun. You want to explain this?
Yeah, they must have changed the rules because now you can't talk to prospective free agents until August 1st. It used to be you could talk to them July 1st. So it's supposed to be a system where you get to talk to your guys until a certain point of time. And on August 1st, they risk going wherever, maybe even earning less by not signing. Mm-hmm. But But this is the thing about the NLL. People go through back channels from time to time. They try to beat the system. We've seen handshake deals left, right, and center. This is not unusual. Does it surprise me? Not one bit. Should it be happening? Absolutely not.
Yeah, pretty much. Ryan Benesh franchised by Halifax, 3-year deal for Benny Boy. And I know a lot of people are a little bit confused on the unrestricted free agent over 34 franchisable. You want to explain all this?
Sure. Once a player turns 34, they have the right to reject the franchise tag. So, especially in the expansion draft, there was no point in drafting anyone that was 34 or older because you're probably looking to franchise them and they can reject it. Now, where this makes sense in the case of Benesh is that you get a 25% raise by being a franchise player. So you get 25% above league max, works out to about $9,000 a year, but still significant. So that's the one leverage that Halifax has to ask Ryan Benesh to fly out to Halifax every week rather than approach the Toronto Rock and try and play somewhere closer to home. He's got the deal. He's got a 3-year deal. I'm a little surprised by the length of it more than anything because Cody Jamieson is a free agent soon. You might have needed that franchise tag for him.
Answer me this. Once you franchise a guy, can you trade him? And if you trade him, is he still the franchise guy for another team, or does he become unfranchised? Or can you even trade your franchise guy?
No, it happened to Aaron Bold. They did the Rush franchised him, shipped him to New England. He remained the Rush's franchise player for that year.
Okay, so if a team has already franchised a player, they cannot acquire another franchised player.
No, they New England had franchised Sean Evans at that time. So Aaron Bold counted as Saskatchewan's franchise player. Now the difficulty is you've got two guys earning 25% above league max. You run into salary cap issues.
Hang on a second. So then Saskatchewan couldn't franchise another guy because they still had the franchise tag on Aaron Bold, even though he was now a member of the Black Wolves?
That's correct.
That's okay. Let's move along, shall we? Minor Nationals, don't forget, from Coquitlam, August the 15th, which is just a couple of weeks away. Just in the works of getting the website up and loaded as far as the entire schedule goes. You can find all those games, webcast, every single one of them, on the home of the Minor Nationals, lacrossetv.com, lacrosse-tv.com. Should be available for purchase probably by the weekend, and I suggest you sign up for those. It's going to be great. Midget provincial champions, Wanda Fuca in the A1, I believe Burnaby in the A2 out there at the Langley Event Center over the weekend. So congrats to those two teams. Provincials, like midget provincials, that might be like the most important game some of those players ever play, the biggest game that they ever played, and that's a huge deal, winning a especially at the midget age. Like, that's pretty special.
Yeah, because by midget age, they're eligible to play Junior B, Junior C, or Junior A, right? So, some of the top players have already moved on. A lot of them, that's going to be their last game other than maybe getting onto a Senior C team in the future.
Well, no. Midget is before Junior A. So you play 2 years of midget, then you got 5 years of Junior A coming up after that. But still, like a lot of those kids may not ever go past midget. They might just stop playing lacrosse or not make Junior A and think, do I want to keep doing this? So anyways, congrats to the midget A provincial winners. Wanda Fuca in A1, Burnaby, I believe, in A2. Congratulations to those guys. Couple more things here on news and notes before we let you go on Lacrosse Classified. Last Wednesday, we all know about the jersey mix-up, faux pas, whatever happened. I'm going to leave it alone. All I want to do is say good on everybody who made a bid on those jerseys, especially Logan Schuss, who outbid himself at the end of the night. $2,800 raised for the Tessa Beauchamp Foundation by the Langley Thunder and fans alike. And that's really what I want to focus on here today is the positive. $2,800, nicely done to the Langley Thunder and the Tessa Beauchamp Foundation, and to Logan Schuss especially, who outbid himself for one of those jerseys. Last thing I want to mention, we had one of our colleagues have a bit of a rough week, Evan, and it just kind of brought me back to mental health a little bit. You know, for both of us, it's something we've had to deal with a little bit in our lives. Both of us have had some tough times, and one of our compadres had a tough week, and I wanted to put back out there because it seems that the only time we really, really open up and talk about it is during Bell Let's Talk. And it's something that should be talked about more and all the time and freely and openly. And I just want to say, if you're out there and you're having a tough go, reach out, slide in my DMs, shoot me a text, an email, a tweet, whatever. I'm here. I'll talk to you. There's people out there that care and love you. Get through the day, and don't be afraid to talk about your problems.
No, absolutely. And one of the things that I think we've learned, more people need to learn, are what are the signs. You know, the obvious sign is Teddy's a very good contributor to the group chat. All of a sudden he's silent. It's like, okay, what's going on, right? And, you know, I reached out, you reached out, a whole bunch of people did, and it's like, because I know Ted would do the same thing for me. He'd do the same thing for you if any of this happened. The key for those that don't know is talk. Just reach out to that person, make sure they're okay, because that's what they're probably missing, is just some form of attention.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be talking about what issues you're having or why you're upset or depressed. Just talk to somebody. Get a conversation going, and let things play out. And I think that's the key. No. But just look for the signals.
No, I mean, for me, it was just, telling Teddy I loved him. That's what he needed to know. I should have called him. I regret that, but hope he's feeling better.
He is.
Circumstances were crazy.
Yeah.
So
we don't need to get into all of it, and Teddy's doing better. And I know he'll get through it, but just had a bit of a tough week, and it just kind of led me down the path to want to bring that subject up one more time here on Lax Class. We're here for you 24/7. You can follow us along on social media at ShemLax, at PXP for Sports, or at Lax Class, and reach out if you want to talk. We're here. That's what we do. We talk, not just about lacrosse, but we did a lot of that here today, Evan. I thought that was a great episode 38. Kaleb Toth, Dewey Jacobs, fantastic stuff there.
No, absolutely. I'm really expanding my horizons with this stuff. This summer ball is stuff that I don't get to see a lot of because, other than the SWAT out here, there really isn't much. So it's something now that I think because of this, I've actually watched or, followed even on Twitter or whatnot, a fair number of games that I wouldn't have even looked at in the past.
Well, perfect. I hope there's more of you out there just like Evan who have got turned on to some summer ball lacrosse. It's good. I mean, it's all the same guys, really. All right, Evan, let's get the people on their way here. Thanks for checking out Lacrosse Classified once again. Don't forget, smash that subscribe button wherever you listen to your podcasts, on Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, you name it, subscribe. And it gets delivered right to your phone each week. I mentioned the social media. A big thanks to our sponsors, of course, in Associated Labels and Packaging, Pure Vital Labs, Stampede Tack, and Western Wear. Couldn't do the podcast without you. Thank you for your continued support, and make sure you are supporting our sponsors. For Kaleb Toth and Duane Jacobs, thanks for coming on the show. And to you, the listener, of course, for checking out Lax Class every single Tuesday right here on the Lacrosse All-Stars Podcast Network. For Evan Schemenauer, I've been Jake Elliott, and for the fastest game on 2 feet, and for the creator, enjoy the games, everybody.